Hi folks, Joseph Kursky here with you. Week 12 of our Mapping Our World course. It's going to be a fun week. We're going to focus on social maps. Now, maps are used in many parts of society. We will focus on 4 key areas in this week. Technology, data, people, and applications. Technology, data, people, and applications. Now, one might argue, and rightly so, that all maps are social constructs, right? We select things, as we've talked about numerous times in this course, and decide what to put on maps. So maps are inherently social constructs, but we'll focus on those 4 things here this week. You'll also explore collaborative mapping, citizen science, volunteer geographic information. Those are all synonyms for the same thing, and that is people collecting data. Now, ordinary people have been collecting data going back to the 1860s and 1870s with the birth of the Audubon Society. So detailed information on bird species, the song of the bird, the color of the bird, the tree that the bird was in, the time of day and the time of year that the bird was in. So people have been collecting data on their observations in nature, for example, for 150 years-ish. The exciting thing now, though, is that they're increasingly tied to geographic coordinates, and hence you can map it and analyze it. So we will explore one key way that people are actually collecting data nowadays, and that is OpenStreetMap. So in areas of the world where there's not a national mapping agency, ordinary citizens are collecting street map data. They're also collecting trails and other things. But it's become a very viable way of mapping roads and trails, especially where either there was no mapping agency in that country, or that data from that mapping agency was either too expensive or it was licensed and ordinary people couldn't get at it. So that's an exciting development. And people are also collecting data on invasive species and water quality and potholes and cracks in the sidewalks in your community and so much more. So those are a couple things that we're going to actually get into here in week 12 of our Mapping Our World course. Another thing we're going to do is we're going to look at a couple of fun articles and videos of people driving where they shouldn't be driving or walking where they shouldn't be driving, simply because their GPS tied to their mapping system in their car or on their phone or whatever tells them turn right here. Well, maybe there's branches now, maybe there's obstructions from a recent storm, or maybe it's a lake like you'll see in the video. It's a fun video, but the point is maps are inherently representations of reality, and they're not perfect. So I want you to think about that in terms of data quality as well. And we'll also explore OpenStreetMap and volunteer geographic information. Now, it touches on the democratization of mapping. Mapping is no longer just the purview of people in the national mapping agencies or in a private company. You are a cartographer in this course. You are a mapper. And I hope that you'll take that to heart and think about the things that you're passionate about and tie mapping to whatever you go into in your future career path. The last thing I wanted to mention here is that in week 1, you actually did participate in the crowdsourcing activity when I had you indicate where you're from, remember that? And we looked at the data on a map in ArcGIS Online. That was an example using Survey 123, which is tied to this ArcGIS platform, of a citizen science mapping activity. True, it wasn't the general public, but it was you folks in the course actually participating in that effort. So you actually did participate in the crowdsourcing activity. And I would assume that in the future you will participate in other crowdsourcing activities, or perhaps you already have outside of this course, because it's becoming much more commonplace nowadays. And it impacts mapping in significant ways, as we'll discover in this course. She would never say where she came from. She forgot to bring her GPS. Thanks, and we'll see you in the course, week 12.